Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative. And what we are going to do today is we're going to put together this treasure chest to the best of my ability. And I wanted to do this video because there's not a lot of videos out there on how to put this together. And I had to actually do some searching to find videos because as much as it would appear that it should be really straightforward to put it together, it isn't actually as straightforward as one might think. And anyone who's very technical and puts things together on a regular basis, you may think this is a walk in the park. How could you think this was difficult? And that's totally cool. I was challenged by it. I've seen other videos where people are kind of trying to figure out how to put this together. I thought I would go through it. I have a reason I'm doing these treasure chests and some other pieces. I got this because I thought this would be really cool for the project I'm working on. And I wasn't sure when it came to taking it apart, especially taking the piece out of here, whether this would be easy or not. And it actually came out relatively smoothly, so I'm really pleased about that. I made a mistake when I was doing this piece, and laugh if you want, whatever, but for whatever reason I thought I needed to fill up this side of it when actually it was the other side that has the 4 individual pieces that I should have filled up. I will let you know I ended up having to do mine in UV resin. One thing I will mention to you, if you have this mold, the holes, and I just want to get this little stick up, these holes, they tend to trap air bubbles. So you're going to want to find a way of making sure you don't get air bubbles down in here. I'm not sure the best way. When I did it, I initially wanted to fill up these holes first. I noticed the air bubbles, and what I did is I tried to work them out with this tool here, but it seemed to keep getting them. I'm not 100% sure what the best way is. Now, I did think about this. Some people do spray alcohol on their molds. I don't really want to do that because I don't want to dry out the silicone. However, that might not be a bad idea for these pieces. I am a little, well, I guess if you're not working with UV resin, I was working with UV resin. If you're not working with UV resin, it may not be a big deal to do that. I just wanted to let you know, watch for your air bubbles here because you may get them. And I guess if you're doing a solid color like I have, it would be really challenging to see that. Maybe an idea is to put just a drop of resin on the end of a stick like this and then just, you know, push it in and slowly work it up, because I think you're going to want these to be as solid as you can get them. So I just want to mention that to you. This piece was, you know, very easy to pour and get the piece out of. One of the other things I had sort of thought about was putting mica powder in here before I actually poured resin in. And I thought, okay, if I do that, like to take, here, I'm just going to turn this inside out for you. So my vision is I put my mica powder on here and then I turn it inside out, and am I going to get it sort of all over the place? So that's why I'm kind of avoiding doing that. This piece is just to create the other end for this. What I did was as well, and I'm not sure you're going to be able to see, I have lightly sanded this piece just to make the adhesion of this piece better when I put it on. Let me see. These pieces here, the latch, with this you get four sets of these. What I have decided to do, I'm going to give you a trick that I saw on another video of how they attach these before they screwed them in, which I thought was brilliant, because I have watched some people try and just screw these on without this little trick. Here's the bag these come in. As I say, I'm not attaching these today. This is going to be mine, and then any I do moving forward, I will attach these. I just didn't want to waste. I did check on Amazon, and it appears if you put in the right terminology for this, and I'll link it below, you can find these. Will they be the same size? That I didn't check into, but I did want to know if I could get more of these, because if I don't, I've only got 4 and I'd like to be able to make more of them. So those are those. As I said, because I made these out of UV resin, the color doesn't match. I don't care. Okay, so let's just stick this mold aside. It is a cute little mold. I do like it. And I really wish, and I don't think I'm the only one who would think this way if they've gotten this, it would have been brilliant if they had given directions on how to correctly assemble. When I went back to Amazon, because this is where I bought it, I watched their video. They went way too fast. I could not follow it. And then I found another one on YouTube, which again, they went really fast through it. I am going to do my best for you to keep my hands out of the way, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing so that if you have this mold, one, you'll be able to come back and watch mine again if you need to, or 2, I won't have gotten my hands and everything in the way. I was giving some thought to what I wanted to use to put this together. If this were clear, not this, dark, then the potential would be to use UV resin to pull this all together. However, because it's dark, I have sort of different thoughts in my mind, but I think I figured out what I'm going to use. I have used Well Bond before, and I found it works really well. You could use a 5-minute epoxy if you wanted to. I've had this one for a while. I've got another container. I don't use it very often, but it definitely has potential. I also have a clear grip Gorilla Glue. I have a lot of different glues. I figured I would use this one today to adhere what I needed to together. We're going to do the easy stuff first, and then we're going to go to the technically challenging stuff for me anyway, and see how we get on. This is my first one I've done. If you have gotten this mold and you've done it yourself and you've come up with a even easier, better way of doing this, I would love if you'd comment below, because as I said, I've seen other people who have been having a difficult time putting this together. Not this piece, it's more these pieces, and getting them in the right way so that your lid will open and close. So let's take this. Oh, and just to let you know, I used a Sharpie, going all out here, for these pieces just so that you could see them. And for the edging on here, I used the Let's Resin. Let me see, can I get it there right? Without, I don't know if the light's on it, the chrome marker. And I am using the, what this color is, well, chrome, no, copper. Okay, so let's do this. Now, I will admit, I don't always follow the directions on these to the letter. I think you find your own way of doing it and you go from there. And I'm sure I haven't opened one of these, but because I'm sitting down, I'm not going to bother with that now. I don't know if anyone else has found too that with this stuff, when you open it up, it always ends up, you get a lot more coming out than you want. So I'm just going to use this to put it on so I don't have, and I probably don't need a whole bunch. And I'm just going to smooth it on here. Hopefully you can see. So how is your day going? What are you up to? Have you had any challenging projects that you've gotten something and you've gone, okay, well, this would have been nice if they had given me directions? And I seriously think it would have been a good idea. And maybe for some people, as I say, they've got it all figured out and, putting stuff together comes second nature to them. I will admit, I get challenged by things like this, and I really have to take my time and think about it before I, can start putting things together. Now, it does say you should wait a few minutes, and then I'm going to put a little bit. And I think I'm supposed to put some in both spots. So let's just follow the rules to a little bit. And I'm using this because it's easier to get it into the spots where it needs to go. So, and the other thing I had thought about with doing this piece, and I'll show you once I have it on. I had thought what might be, but it might make it look messy too. So I'm not sure my thought will work very well. Okay, I just want to get the lid back on that so it doesn't dry. So let's take this and we'll just place it on here. So it just goes together. It fits into all people. Or did I just do that really too quickly? So let's just get this. And when you're making this, when you take it out, and you'll find that it does fit. It does fit on there relatively well, but you're definitely going to want to glue this to hold it together. Again, if you're doing this for somebody, you don't want to be not gluing that on and then it falls apart. So we'll just hold that for a few minutes, just so that we make sure it's got good grip. And I'll just let you know too, when I made this, I didn't take the eye candy pigment. I took a Let's Resin mica powder, and I took, I'm trying to think of the other, I think it was an Let's Resin as well. I mixed a gray with the brown, because I wanted to see if I couldn't get a little bit of a different color. I'll mark down below what I used to make this resin color, just in case you're curious. I was trying to get an antique-ish look, but I haven't got a mica powder that has that chrome, antique-ish, silver look to it. Okay. I am not going to do what I might think about doing and just, pulling at this end and seeing if it's on there tight. And this has been cured now for 24 hours. But as we all know, sometimes it takes resin a little bit longer to harden up. Okay. So we've got that on. I feel pretty confident with that. My other plan or thought, and it might be better to do it on the inside, was to take a little bit of UV resin, and let me get something. So my hands, again, I'm going to do my best just to keep my hands out of the way, is if we put a little bit of UV resin just inside this end. Not much, just a little bit, because I know when I put my memory box together that held my mom's ashes, I was very diligent on using UV resin to hold things in place. Even though I had used a glue to hold the corners together, I thought this cannot come apart. And I took UV resin and I would go around parts like this and just seal it up where it was inconspicuous, where no one was going to see it. I think that's an option for the end of this as well. I had considered maybe, but you'd want to be really careful, is going with the UV resin on the outside. But again, if you don't want to see it, and if you're like me and sometimes things don't go as neatly as you want them to, just putting a small bead of it on the inside here and curing it. And that will give you some extra hold. Just a thought. All right. So we've got this like this. Okay. So this is technically, get rid of how your box. And you'll notice we have those two gaping holes at the back. Okay, here comes the fun stuff now. See if we can get, again, first go kick the can with this, people. And it took me watching some videos to sort of get where I needed to on this. What we want to do is these two pieces will go together. And you'll notice, and I had thought about putting some UV, and I probably should have, but I didn't. Again, this is for me. And there's a little bit of a gap here where my UV resin didn't get down into the mold. So we're just going to take these two pieces and we're going to put them together like this. Okay? So can you see that? I want to make this as clear as possible. So that's how they're going to look when they're together. You're going to take this then, and you're going to place it inside here. Now, should I be doing? No, we're going to be okay. Put it over here, put it back here. So as I understand, what we're going to do is we're going to glue one of these to this side and one to the opposite side on the lid. What I want to do first though is, and this should be interesting because I really didn't watch the rest of them. Oh, you're going to love this. Anyway, you can laugh at me if you want to, if it helps you. So that's what the trick is. Now, you're going to want to keep these together because if you take them apart, well, I'm guessing if you take them apart, you're not going to get the second piece back in there to, like when you have to glue it or put it together. Now, I'm wondering about, as I say that to myself, I'm wondering if that's a true statement. Just let me, because technically what's supposed to happen is the one piece will flip up to allow you to open your lid. And what I'm wondering about, just trying, like I say, I'm going to try and get my, yeah, that's not going to work. So you're going to want these two pieces together. I was thinking maybe what you might be able to do is if you did this one first by itself, just let that sit there. And then if you put this over here, let me think about that for a second. We're going to want to make sure, I don't want to mess this up. I really don't. Yeah, it's probably better if I don't. This, would you be able to slide it in? And it's not going to work. I think the best bet we have here is we just put these together like everybody else has done them. And then we'll glue them. Glue the one to one side. We'll do that and then we'll do the other. So, and if I mess this up, then I mess it up. So I'm thinking that's the way this, and we would do this to this side. And you're supposed to make sure that when you glue like the side here, that your glue doesn't somehow get and touch this other piece. So how good can we do this, people? So let's take these out. So we're going to put a little bit of glue over here. And I'm going to, like I said, I will do my bestest to keep my hands out of the way for you. So let's take some of this. And then we'll put it right here on this slip. This stuff is drying way too quickly, and I don't know why. I don't know whether it's because it's been sitting there for a while. It's just getting, or it's because of my stick. I don't know. Okay, so let's just get this in here. Okay, I'm going to push it against like that. I haven't put any on the bottom of this, and I don't know if I should be or not. So hopefully you can see this. Hopefully this is going to stick for me. I should have put my lid back on first. We'll see if, yeah. I think this is going to be a challenge and a half, but that's okay. I just want to get that in there so it's holding. It may be worthwhile to put some on this on the side that's sticking down on the box, but again, this may be something that you use a little bit of UV resin with as well. Like get it basically put into place and together, and then very carefully putting some UV resin just, you know, to hold things in place. So I'll have to see. Yeah, like I said, it would have been brilliant had they sent some directions, and you know, maybe they thought no one would need them. What I'm sort of gathering from some of the videos I've seen, people would appreciate the directions to go with this. And the other thing with mine, I'll mention as well, and I'm going to put the slid back on, is I don't think my pieces are as thick as they should be. Like these pieces here, I think maybe if they needed to be a little bit thicker. And I sometimes struggle with my eyes to see when things are right level with the mold. So that's something I would watch to make sure you get it right level with the top of that. Okay, now I just want to shoot. It's not stuck. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to let you go. I'm going to get just this one set the way I want it to, and then I'll be back. Hello again. I had a bit of a challenge with this. I'll be totally honest with you. I did get this piece attached here. I did end up using my clear grip. I tried the weld bond, but I was running into issues with it as well. I have this piece attached now. What I'm going to do is walk you through with the other side what I did. I ended up, so these do go to the back. I again watched another video, and I swear they really need to slow this process down, because for me it's just like, okay, can you slow this down where you're doing this? And maybe, like, again, it's maybe it's obvious to some people, not to me. Okay, what we're going to do is we are going to put, and I'm using a toothpick now as opposed to what I was using before. I have the one on this box against this side. I'm going to do the other one against the other side. So let's just take some sticky stuff, and we're just going to put this right in here. And I don't want to go fast for this. I know how frustrating it is to want to understand how something's done. So we're just going to put some of this Gorilla Glue in here. Okay. And then we're going to take some of it and put it on, and I just want to sort of figure out which side. So we're going to put it on that side. Just down along here. So am I in camera here? Okay, we're just going to put some here. Okay. You're supposed to let this just sort of sit out and, I guess, I don't know, get sticky or whatever for 2 minutes. So what should we talk about for 2 minutes? And we're not going to talk for 2 minutes, but we're going to let that sit for at least a minute. And I guess so it gets sticky, so it'll stick together. The other thing I had done with this side is once I had it in place, I took this stick and I just placed it inside there just to give it a little bit more stability and to help my hand with holding it in place. So that might be an option for you as well. Patience. Patience is what you're going to need for this. I'm not going to be able to stress that enough. You're going to need patience for this. And I'm really going to be interested on how well we pull this off. But again, once you do it a few times, it will get easier. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to take this very carefully now. They do need to be together. And we're going to take that. Where am I? Am I in view? I'm not in view. Oh, where am I? Gosh, Natalie, where are you going with this stupid thing? Come back down here. Okay. That's probably used up my 2 minutes, didn't it? Okay, we're going to set this in. Hopefully my fingers aren't, like I said, I'm trying to keep my fingers out of the way. So let's do that. We'll take this and we're just going to, I'm going to place it beside it. Hopefully that opening was big enough on the other side. No, I'm pushing this way. Okay. Give me a moment, please. See, this is where I start getting, you know, a little fussy with it because I want to get it in there. I want to get it lined up. Okay. Getting my fingers out of the way. And I'm just going to hold it there. Make sure it's pressed down. Just do that. Make sure it's lined up. Okay. So we're just going to hold that there for a couple of seconds. Now I did push it down with my finger, and I'm just holding it against. I had wished my popsicle stick would stick in there, but that's okay. Again, patience. I don't think I'm going to be able to stress that to you enough. You're going to have patience doing this. And after a few, it's probably going to get... Now, I'm noticing my mold has definitely is not fully cured because I'm able to move these ends. So I maybe should have left this for a couple of days before I went and did this part of it. But, oh well. Oh well, oh well, oh well. I'm curious to know who has this mold. I'm curious to know who has been able to do this really easily, putting it together, because I would love to know your tips and tricks. And I just like to know who had an easy time with this. It's one of those things. As a child growing up, I never had any patience. It's taken me a long time to get to the place of patience. And I will admit that the one place, and it's so interesting to me, that I have learned patience is in stores, especially grocery stores, standing in line waiting to get through the checkout. Now, as we all know, self-checkout's a big thing, but there's still lineups at times. And I learned patience by, there we go, it just fits, so we'll let that sit. I learned patience that way. I'm not the best at it still, but I am a lot better than I used to be. And that helps with stuff like this. But knowing how it goes together, I know I'm going to comment on Amazon and say, like, you really should have directions for this, and indicate that your video goes way too fast. So I'm just going to let that sit there for a moment. And the other thing I did was I did put UV resin. So I've got a little bit out here. I'm going to do it on that side as well, just because I want to know what's holding. So I took a dab and I just ran it down just through the side here and then up through here as well, just to give it that added little bonus. And I think the other thing I might do is, and I don't think you're going to be able to see that all. I don't know what kind of glare I got going on here, but there's a bit of a gap at the bottom here, and I'll probably put some UV resin in there as well. I figure if I can get it into some of these like spots where it's not going to impact anything, it'll be worthwhile in order to hold this together, because again, you don't want it falling apart. And I know for the project I'm working on, I do not want these falling apart. This is very important to me. And, you know, I'm wondering too if I might come up with a better solution with how to put this lid on this piece. But for now, this is what we're working with. Okay, so I'm going to carefully take this out. It's moving the whole damn thing now. Okay, let me just get that out. Okay, like I did with the other one, and I just want to, again, patience. Okay, let's just move that out of the way then. Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of UV resin. And like I said, hopefully that's not setting. Okay, I put like a drop or two. And then I'm just going to go along the side here. And again, do it where it doesn't matter, where, you know, no one's really going to notice, just so you can get that added strength, that knowing it's stuck together. Because you'll, at the end of the day, it's going to be like, okay, I know this is secure. I'm trusting that this glue is going to hold. I want to give it that added little bonus of the UV resin, because I know the UV resin is going to hold it. I know it's going to hold it. So you've got the glue, you've got your UV resin. It's just that added little security of. Now, I know there's some super glues out there. I'm thinking if you use the 5-minute epoxy, you wouldn't have a concern. for me, this is just what I'm doing and what I'm feel comfortable doing. Do what makes you feel good about the piece you're putting together. Okay. Turn that off. And then what I'm going to do is just, hopefully you can see, so where my toothpick is, I'm just going to come up along here. And once I have this all together, then I'll probably go across the bottom there as well. So just enough that this piece isn't going to move at all when I'm working on getting the rest of this put together. And in the video, I think they might have used, the one video I watched, they might have used UV resin as well. I'm not 100% sure. As I say, they were going way too fast for me. And I'm thinking, you people have got to slow down. Got to slow down. You want, if you're going to be doing something like this, you want people to be able to see what's going on. Especially like a person like myself who needs the extra little, I need the extra little help to make sure I'm putting this together right. Okay. So here's two, and I'll put a little bit more UV resin on these two pieces I've already put in here, like up through here. Let me get my toothpick. I'll put a little bit more up through here, and a little bit more here. And as I say, if you can see, and I'm not sure if you can, right down here at the bottom, I'll put some as well. But I want this other piece in place. I want it in place before I do that, because I do not want it to get caught up in the UV resin, because then, well, then you're going to have a lot more fun. And maybe if you're up for it, cool. Great. I'm not up for it right now. Okay. I feel pretty confident. Those pieces are attached. As I say, I would make sure when you're doing this mold, especially these pieces, that you get enough resin into those holes. So it's to the depth that it needs to be for this. Mine aren't. Yeah, mine aren't. Especially this one. This one's even a little more crude than the other one was, as far as the depth. And I wonder too, that what you might do in the case where you didn't have enough, and I probably should have done it, is add some UV resin to the top just to make it a little bit thicker, so you don't run the risk of potential. I don't think mine will. I could potentially, well, I'd have to be really careful, but I think I would have been better off if I had added a bit more UV resin to that, just to make it a little bit wider, and make sure you fill this to the top. Those are my words of advice to you. What you do with that is totally up to you. Now, I think this is going to become the really interesting part. They made it look so easy in the video. And if someone else who has a channel out there does this, I would love to see you do it, especially if you got an easier way of doing it. Now, my thought is, and if I can pull this off, I'll be really pleased. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to, but let's hope. Now, if I were to UV this one side and then the other, I wonder if that would be helpful. If I get that half decently, and I was going to say another word, but half decently put together, I just wonder about doing UV resin and not even bothering with the glue. I just want to, I think I'm going to have to be really careful with this. But if I get it to beside it, right, and get it glued in place. So you know what we're going to do? I'm going to UV that together. Again, if this goes to H in a basket, then that's, you'll know what not to do. But I just think UV resin at this point is going to make my life that much easier. So let's see what happens. And then it's almost like I wish I had 4 hands instead of just 2. Okay. Let's just focus on the one side for now. And I just want to, okay, can you see, my hand's in the way, isn't it? This side I'm working on. Okay. Maybe like this. Maybe. Ooh, maybe. Okay. We are going to do this to the best of my ability. So that, and I hope you can see what I'm doing. So let's just do this. And that's the beauty of UV resin, right? So I'm just very carefully, and I'm lining it up, I swear, to the best of my ability. I'm trying to breathe. Oops. Okay, I don't want that up. Okay, so just have everything organized. I'm trying not to breathe. Try not to breathe. When I was doing photography, I had a wedding I needed to do, and my niece, who is a professional photographer, I remember her saying to me about breathing, like not to breathe when you take the shot, because then your body won't shake. And yeah, it's little things like that you take them for granted until you have to do it. And then you just sort of go, okay, don't breathe. Do what you need to do. Have everything organized. So that's going to be my advice to you. Be organized for this. Have everything the way you need it to be, where you need it to be, so you're not scrambling. And yeah, go from there. So I'm just being extra careful. I may not have this exactly where I need it to be, but I think I'm really close. And I guess we're going to know for sure when we go to close this up, right? Whether I've totally messed this up and what not to do, or, you know, sort of the tricks of the trade and this worked. Okay. Now, we're going to take this, our toothpick again, my toothpick, and I'm going to, there we go. Okay, I'm just going to very carefully get this placed where I want it to be. Very carefully take my UV resin. And it moved. Okay, so be careful when you're doing this. Don't breathe. No, I'm kidding. Please breathe. Okay, you won't need a lot of this. I'm pushing that into place. And then UV light. Trying not to move my hands. And every once in a while I do get a bit of a tremor in my hands, but today, thank you very much, universe. I'm okay. This will be so cool if this works. And I hope it's been a close enough, slow enough video that you see what I'm doing, so you don't get frustrated with it. And this works the way we want it to, eh? Here's hoping. And at this point, I don't have a lot of UV resin on it. Could I pry this apart if I needed to? Well, you know, that's possible, I guess. Do I want to? Absolutely not. Okay. Whew. There we go. We can breathe now. Now, are we good or are we not? Ugh. Maybe we're not. Sugar shack. No, I messed this up. I wonder if I should have done this differently. Yeah, you know what? I messed this up. Okay, I think I know what I did wrong though. So, what we need to do, I wonder if I can. Oh, perfect. Okay, we got it apart. I think I know what I did wrong. So put only a little bit on it. And I think what we need to do, pulling these two up, I think I know what I did wrong. See, don't you like when someone else does this stuff? Yeah, that's what I did wrong. I did it the wrong side. So my bad. If you noticed that, I hope you're sitting there saying, okay, Natalie, you did this the wrong way. Which is fine, right? I'm glad I'm doing this the wrong way, so you don't have to. So if we do it like this, okay, so we're going to do it like this. I'm going to have to turn this around again so I can see. Okay, so a little bit of UV resin. Okay, that like that. Okay, we'll do one and then we'll do the other. So that lines up with that. Yeah, I think this is, okay, so this is a great example. And I'm so grateful that I only had a little bit of UV resin on this. So I'm just going to put a little down here at the bottom. Okay. And we'll put, I think I can see, okay. Put a little bit down here. All right. I don't think I want to do, again, I just want to do a little bit, because all I want to do is see if when I do this, that it's gonna fold the way it needs to. So I'm just being really gentle, not a lot. So let's do this and see if this is the way you should have it open, which kind of makes more sense to me, but I thought the way I had it was right too. But obviously I was totally wrong. And again, so you can get it right out of the gate. And as I say, if you've done this and you were seeing that I was doing this totally wrong, go, Natalie, you're doing this wrong. Don't do it that way. I accept that I did this wrong. And at least I'm able, like, hopefully can get this fixed so that we're good. So we'll just give this a little bit more of a glow. It doesn't need a lot, it just, I need enough to make sure that I can flip the lid and know we've got it. Yeah, as I say, pictures would have been brilliant. I'm a visual kind of person, so pictures work wonders for me. All right, so what are you thinking so far? Comment below. And for anyone who's watching, thank you for paying attention to this video. Hopefully you're gaining something of what not to do from it. So let's just see if this, fingers crossed that this time I've got it. That's better. There we go. There we go. That's better. That's better. That's better. That's better. I've noticed that there's a, yeah, it's not, I've got spacing here. I don't have spacing here, which isn't really helpful to me, but it opens. So I'm just wondering if I can, when I glue, okay, so now that we know we've got this right, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to see if, okay, so the popsicle stick will fit down in here. And I want that apart for basically two reasons. And I'm going to get another one here. I want this to, I don't know how that's, if that's going to work. I kind of want to keep the distance between these guys. So, patience, Natalie, patience. Did you hear that? Okay. And that's kind of, okay. what we're going to do, we know that this is closing right now. So we're going to take more of this UV resin. And I'm going to put it up here. Yeah, I'm going to put it right here. Now, will this hold? I believe it will. I mean, UV resin to UV, or UV resin to UV. Oh my gosh. UV resin to resin works. And we'll put a little bit more up the side here. I know, I'm just breathing ever so cautiously, eh? Okay, we'll glue this up. We'll UV this up. I will probably put this under my big UV lamp, and I'll add some more UV to it, just so that it's in there proper. Again, I don't want this, it is mine, but I don't want it falling apart. And therefore I will add more UV to it. I'm really pleased with these popsicle sticks working to keep the two pieces apart, and also to allow this piece to be pushed against here. So tips, if I have any, make sure you fill up your mold properly for these pieces. Maybe add a little bit more using UV resin to the posts on the one piece so that you know they're through enough. Have patience. Oh my, have patience. Don't do what I did the first time. And if you maybe make a mistake, only put a little bit of UV resin, because you saw that I was able to get mine apart, which is great. So let's do this over here. I don't know if I can get this apart like I had it on the other one. I don't know if that's going to work or not. I think, let me see, what have I got? What have I got? I don't know. I think they're all the same depth, don't you? Yeah, that's not going to work. I need you, but I know I have more of them. So I wonder if my popsicle stick would work. Yeah, my popsicle stick will give me some distance in here. Okay, so I'm going to do the same on this one that I did on the other one. And if you get a little, now I've got a little bit too much UV resin here. So what I would like to do, and I wish I hadn't put as much on it. No, I'm not going to move this. So I'm just putting UV resin on this opposite side. Okay. And we'll UV that up. This video is taking a lot longer than I thought. I did not want to hold you up this long, people. I just wanted to, and I'm glad I'm just doing the video on putting this together. I didn't want to hold you up this long. I hope you're finding it helpful, though, as far as knowing what not to do. It's things like this that I really appreciate other YouTube people doing, because it does. It makes a difference. If you don't have to go through the frustration that I've gone through, and you can see, okay, this is what I need to do. This is, the best way. And my way is not the best way. I'm sure there are even better ways out there to put this together. This is, at least one way I know, and I have a better idea of what I'm doing moving forward. So that's brilliant. Okay. So I did now the inside on both of these, and I just want to tap that, make sure that is, if I could pick up my toothpick. Okay. I'm using the J. Diction new formula, and I'll have that in the comments below. Okay. So it's a little stiff through here. Boy, that's giving the antique look, isn't it? Okay. There we go. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, I'm pleased with that. It's a little, I'm finding it, if you were here, it's a little tight, but at least it opens and closes now, right? Okay. What I wanted to mention about these, and then I am gonna finish this up, put the rest of the UV on it. On the one video I'd seen, instead of just, you know, trying to hold, right, this stuff is slippery as all get out, right? So the person or the video that I'd seen, they actually put glue on this. This piece, they put glue on, stuck it down, and then they screwed it in, which I thought was a really cool idea because then it's not sliding around. Trying to hold that with your hands, trying to screw it in at the same time, having those tiny little screws, which they are, I mean, oh, if you've got really good sense, great. I like the idea of gluing it though. I'm not sure 100%. The person that did it, I mean, they put quite a bit of glue in here to hold it down. Am I fussy on that? Maybe not 100%, but I did like the idea of having the glue on here just to hold it in place. And I'm going to have to watch the video, and I will point you to that video. I'll leave that in the comments below too, so you can have a look at that. And then they put glue on this one as well, and then placed it on, and then drilled the, like, yes, see? Anyway, so they did glue on this piece as well, and then they drilled and put the screws in. And as you can see, I think that's a really good idea. I don't know, there that piece went. Anyway, so that is it. I'm going to take offline now. I'm going to finish putting UV resin on these pieces to secure it even more. I am going to see, I like the idea of putting glue on this, but I think you're going to get, it's going to be messy. So I want to maybe see if there isn't another way to potentially hold this on here. And I want to also figure out, so where exactly should I be putting? Because I almost would thought, I want to try and keep my fingers out here, like here, up here versus down here, but I'll have to look at the video again. We will be back. Have patience, my friends, have patience. I am back. Couple of things. I got this put together. I have glued it with UV resin. I still want to put my big UV lamp on top of this to fully cure this. We know it'll close. We know we have it together the right way now. I had a couple of thoughts about these hinges that came with it. I think these are a little too big for this treasure chest. I had thought maybe what I could do to hold these closed was to use magnets, but they'd almost need to be sunk down into the resin, and I don't know how to do that, especially because of this part of the mold. How would I do that? And I don't really have anything to drill. So I got cut off with my video recorder because I ran out of power. Anyway, as I was saying, I had thought about using magnets and to try and set those down. I don't have a piece of equipment or a drill or anything small enough or proper to drill holes into the resin so I could set them in. They're too thick. I have some really small ones here that I had thought potentially would work because they're small enough in diameter, but when I closed the lid with two of these, one on top of the other, it was too thick. So that's not going to work. I am going to be on the lookout, the hunt for something smaller that would work to have a latch on this. And I'm sure there's something out there. I was thinking if I could find a small enough resin mold that, you know, I could make my own lock for it. For what I'm thinking and for the project I'm working on, this is probably going to be open anyway. Or, you know, set up like this so it can display what I want it to display. Again, I thought these were too big, and to try and put glue in them, yeah, it's not working for me. It might work for somebody else. So for right now, we're just going to have a plain box here at the front, I'm going to look and see what I can find. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them. But I've got nothing right now, so I'm going to leave that alone. Yeah, so this is it. I think it's a great mold. I wish they had directions on how to put this together. It's, for, like I said, for the project I want it for, this is going to be a perfect size for it. Little knickknacks go in. I've seen people put dice inside of these. A potpourri on in someone's bedroom, that might work. And if you could, sort of keep the lid up a little bit so that the aroma could come out of it. But yeah, it's a cute little box. I like it. I will be making more. I just want to find out how to latch it at the front to just sort of finish it off a little bit. And because of Pirate's Jest, well, normally they have some sort of latch on them. I would love to be able to, properly put mica powder on the inside of this, even for, what is supposed to look like straps. But it makes me think you could use a chrome marker to accent these. I'm thinking I might be able to glue something on just to do that. I think there are a lot of possibilities. I haven't thought of them all. If you've done one of these, if you've got any suggestions, yeah, please comment below. Thank you for watching. I think this video is probably going to be a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. But at least now, if you have one of these molds and you haven't worked on putting it together, I'm really hoping that this video has been helpful to you as to how to put this together. Anyway, have a great day with whatever creative endeavor you're getting up to. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Take care. Bye for now.